say that. I'm gonna do it again.
And the audience was like,
Are you acting right now? And I said, kind of.
You can do whatever you want.
What's my lighting cue? What am I supposed to say right now?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another compelling edition of Inside the Eclipse Studio. My name is Michael Fleming. We're talking about an amazing production of 1984, the epic that was written, of course, by George Orwell, and it's coming up to the main theater in Old Town Newhall on March 17th and thereafter, and you've got to catch that. But right now, we get to talk to one of the cast members, Jonathon Castile. Welcome. Let me ask you, how did you get started in theater?
When I was in high school, I was a bit of a troublemaker for the teachers, and I had a substitute teacher that came in, and I was causing some trouble, and she gave me 10 minutes at the end of class to kind of entertain the group if I would just calm down for the duration of the class. She promised to give me 10 minutes, and she did. And then at the end of that, as I was leaving, she said, come here for a second. And I was like, yeah. And she said, have you ever considered being an actor? You should look into that. And I was like, huh. So I did. And here we are. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this was many years ago, I believe her name was Miss Holden. So Miss Holden, if you're watching, this is your fault.
If you can channel that energy into something creative like theater.
Yeah.
So here we are talking to any of you youngsters out there, you know, don't get in trouble. Get into theater.
Yeah.
You know?
You'll find enough trouble in theater.
It's true.
Usually.
It's true, but it's constructive trouble.
I think so, and honestly, I think what happens is, you know, if you're having a hard time in school, it's usually because you're either bored, you're not stimulated, your creative self is probably speaking louder than your disciplinary self, and all that, and it all has a place, right? Like there's a certain amount of discipline that it takes to being a performer, an actor, or any kind of entertainer. You have to memorize your lines, you have to do your homework, you have to do the investigative part of it, and put on your detective hat. And go out and try to find like who the author was and researching the author and what other plays have they done and do all the research and the reading. There's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes as opposed to just standing on the stage and saying this line at this spot and all that. If you want to have any kind of three-dimensional quality to any of your performances.
Very cool. So what was the first legitimate major production that you did that really just got you going? You said in high school.
Yeah.
When she said.
So we didn't have theater in my high school, so I had to cheat a little bit. I actually got really, I don't want to say really good. Okay, I'm going to say decent enough. I got accepted into a program called the Governor's School for the Arts, and and the reason that I went to Governor's School for the Arts is I got good enough at visual art, drawing and painting and all that, so that I could go to do this program because I heard through the grapevine that they gave you a week in this month-and-a-half long program to go and study a different discipline. So you could study music, you could study theater and all that stuff. And as soon as it said theater, I perked up because again, that's a way in. So I got really good at sculpting and doing all these other art forms so that I could get into this program so I could go do this other thing. And I was very sad to find out it was just a talent show.
If you don't mind me asking, where was the Governor's School?
Oh, it was in Tennessee.
Is that where you're from?
Yeah, I'm from Tennessee. Yeah, a Tennessee native. Born in Middle Tennessee, a place called Tullahoma.
So I don't hear any trace of a Southern accent.
Really?
No.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Theater training.
Yeah, so I did have a pretty thick accent when I was younger. There is a cadence though, right? There's a sing-songy kind of sound, especially to the Tennessee twang. And so when I get to my Aunt Nancy, I love you to death, Aunt Nancy, so I'm going to pick on you just for a second. But the sound, it's very sing-songy, at least in my family. So, hey Jonathan, this is Aunt Nancy. I just want to call and say hello and I love you and all that. Okay, bye. Like that's very, very nice Southern kind of accent.
So there you go. When you are, it doesn't, you know, if you do have an accent, you can change it and then you can always rely on it later. Well, Jonathon Castile, it's been great talking to you. What a pleasure. We remind you to catch the opening night of 1984, George Orwell's 1984, opening on March 17th at the Main Theater in Old Town Newhall. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for having me.
It was fun. I enjoyed that.